What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Littleroot Lessons, episode 229. I ability patched myself, and the inner focus I had got replaced with Klutz because it was bad.
One
How
way
we
to
doing,
describe
boys?
what we just did.
That was the roughest intro yet, 3 times, and it still came out not so great.
No, so I wanted to say Carter's currently playing Little Cup Ranbats, but instead I was
They're
Carter's...
called baby Ranbats.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
But
you gave
instead
yourself an unnecessary tongue twister and ended up taking the L for it.
Yeah, because I almost said Littleroot Lessons Bats, and I'm like, that's not a thing.
I don't know how I beat this Torchic. If it's +2 attack, +3 speed, I really don't have an answer to this thing.
I mean, the answer is dredge it, fry it, serve it with like sweet and sour sauce.
No, the correct answer is go to my Fletchling and go for an Acrobatics. Got him.
Did it work?
It did.
Okay, well that's good.
He Flare Blitzed himself down. Of course I was able to beat it.
Now, actually, for once, one of the first times ever in Littleroot Lessons podcast history, Carter playing a non-VGC format while we're recording is actually kind of fitting for what we're going to be discussing today. It's again middle of the dead season. We already went through some tournament results last week. We're not going to go back to what we already discussed, and so we decided that we should talk about what other Pokemon things we do when we aren't playing VGC or when it's not the main VGC season. So like when we aren't on top of tier lists and usage stats and tournament results. And so with that being said, Carter, why don't you go first? Because honestly, I think you're the one who does the most non-VGC.
Yeah, that's probably accurate because I haven't played in a hot minute. Like factual VGC. When did Reg G start?
May. Yeah, that cracks.
So let's see. I've been kind of just keeping myself entertained. Here lately, I have like these baby Ranbats that are like the thing I do from time to time just to have some kind of like source of entertainment if I want to just like do battle sims. Outside of that, of course, I have the Nuzlockes going up on the channel that I've been working on for a hot minute now. And then what I've been doing at work, because I have so much to do right now, I have been doing a Professor Oak's Challenge of Emerald, which, do either of you know what that means? Did I just...
So, I was just saying, I know what that means. Jay, do you know what that is?
Absolutely not.
So,
okay.
I don't know how it started. I don't know like the origins of it or anything else.
I think it was a Reddit post.
Yeah,
like,
that would make sense.
6 or 7 years ago or something like that.
The idea behind it is you have to register in your Pokédex every Pokemon you can up to like whatever gym you can get to. So in the case of Roxanne, you have to fully evolve your starter, fully evolve X-Cloud.
Yeah, Greyloom. You got to get both Beautifly and Dustox.
Good luck.
Yeah, and you do that for every single badge. So like by the end,
and you're doing this.
Yeah, I have spent. Let me pull up my file real quick.
You do this for fun?
Yeah. Do you know how many wild Whismers I killed? Because guess what? That's the best place to get experience before the first badge.
That is that it takes a stronger will than mine to do that. I'll say that much.
I have 5 badges, 104 Pokemon registered, and 72.5 hours played.
To put that in perspective, like the Hoenn Dex, I believe the Hoenn Regional Dex is only 200.
Well, the problem is after I beat the game, I get the National Dex. It actually doesn't add that much more. The section I'm on now, which is so because of the way this works, you can get to Moss Deep before you fight Winona, if you just like do the whole plot line and everything. So you actually fight Winona last because she doesn't actually unlock anything more in the game besides fly. So because of that, you go and fight Tate and Liza first, then do all the sections that you unlock from there, which is like Seafloor Cavern. Go beat Juan, and then go beat Winona. Because again,
and once you get Juan, like I know, like you get Waterfall. So I think the only Mon that would add would be like the Bag Online.
That sounds correct. Yeah. And then after Winona, there's nothing in between her and the Elite Four, so that you just go beat them. And then from there, you just go clean up like the Safari Zone, a few things like the Battle Frontier, catch like Latias, and you're done.
Yeah, so pretty much like at the end of everything with the Professor Oak's challenge, the decks minus the starters that you can't get, that you didn't pick, your like version exclusives, and I'm assuming unless you force trade evolutions or trade evos,
nope,
are the only things that should be missing from your decks.
So at the end, I will have scrolling because this section is insanely long. At the end of this, I will have 212 registered in my decks.
Yeah. Which, going by the 386 in Hoenn, that would be 54.9% of all Pokemon that existed at the time the game came out.
Yep.
Which is pretty nuts.
And there's like versions of it where you can go even farther. There's people who do total living dexes because they're insane. That
actually is nuts. Now, one of the other things you mentioned was the Genlock, and I know that we know that Nuzlocking is something like a love that you've always had. But if you want to just like dive a little more into it, like I know we've talked a little about it on the pod, but I think this is the space to just really like get into the nitty gritty and that stuff.
Yeah, let me pull up my script real quick so I can just read what I have written for the Genlock. Because why try to do it by memory when I literally have a script? Let's see. A Genlock is a complete Nuzlocke playthrough of every generation of Pokemon from Generation 1 through, as of now, Generation 9. I'll only be allowed to catch one Pokemon per route in each game. If a Pokemon dies, it's dead forever. I won't be able to use that Pokemon in any future generation. So deaths can really cost me if I'm not careful. Additionally, the surviving members of my Hall of Fame team will be brought into the next generation as my starting team, though they'll be brought back to their pre-evolved state. Does that track? Does everyone understand what that means?
Yeah.
Thumbs up. Good job.
It's like I spent a lot of time writing this so people could comprehend what I mean. But yeah, the TLDR is I'm playing through every game with the same like rules implied. So if a Pokemon dies in Red and Blue, it's dead all the way through Scarlet and Violet. Which, for those who haven't watched the video, spoilers, I can't get Venusaur anymore. Like, regardless of... So, like, I think the next time I would have access to, like, a Venusaur would be X and Y, I think. That's the first time you get, like, a Kanto starter, where I just can't take a Bulbasaur, so instead I'll take Squirtle or Charmander.
Yeah, and that is something that's, like, or even just Pokemon, like, I think when I was your Gen 2 rival, I killed your Alakazam.
We don't need to talk about that.
So, well, like, I'm saying, like that's
no.
Actually...
Let's be honest. I killed my Alakazam. I'm just really bad.
I was happy. I was happy that as your rival, I got 1 KO because you kind of dog walked. You dog walked Carl as your rival in Gen 1.
I also shit on you a lot in that video because the Gen 2 rival is terrible.
You did, and I deserved it, but I got a body.
Jay, are you looking forward to being my Gen 4 rival?
I am absolutely looking forward to it.
You're going to be the most coked out rival.
Barry is absolutely coked out, as Ro just said, and Yeah, no, his vibe is electric. I'm excited to absolutely ruin
Jay
your
and
day.
Barry are the complete opposite in vibes.
Many, many minutes later.
But yeah, I go back to what I was saying. Like, you don't like Alakazam's a good Pokemon for Nuzlocke, and it's in a lot of the early gen games.
Yep.
And to just not be able to have that mon like hurts.
Yep.
Once you get to Gen 5, it doesn't matter for you though.
What do you mean?
Yeah, because Gen 5, like, it's all new Pokemon anyway.
I mean, I still get my team from Gen 4. So.
Yeah, but you get locked out of anything because there's nothing to lock you out of.
And I don't know if you know this, but but Aerodactyl's really good.
Yeah.
And it only gets better when it actually gets a physical special split.
I was going to say, you gotta really keep that thing alive, because if you, like, that's going to be nutty in XY, and if you lose that, you're going
Is
to
the Mega Stone, like, accessible before the Elite Four?
It's one of the earliest Megas you can get. I think, because I remember in my XY playthrough, I had an Aerodactyl, and I'm pretty sure that once you get access to Mega Evolution, you get Mega Aerodactyl.
Oh yeah, you just in Pokemon X you can find the Aerodactylite by speaking to the scientist in the right side of the fossil lab.
Yeah,
there's no side quest. There's nothing. It's just talk to a guy.
Yeah, I don't know if you have to show them an Aerodactyl or not, or you just get, or it's just handed to you. But like, it's super easy to get Mega Aerodactyl. Like, I think for XY, when you get to it, one of the big things is going to be like taking advantage of the Pokemon that you can Mega Evolve early. Like, I think Mega, like, of course, the starters, like the Kanto starters, Aerodactyl, Lucario. I believe Mega Gengar is available.
Well, what's really unfortunate is the Blazikenite is actually locked to an event. Like,
yes,
you can't actually access it in game.
Nope.
Jay, do you know what we're saying? Do you know what Mega Pokemon are?
I do. I actually played X and Y. So
what was your first Pokemon game?
It was Platinum.
That's right.
Yeah, I
That's
remember
right.
that. Jesus.
So yeah, that's my life. Swede and I have done a couple of our variations. They're called tag locks, is what we refer to them as. It's where I will play up until I beat a gym and then pass the save file to him, and we just do that back and forth. For the most part, the original idea is you have like no communication with the other person whatsoever, except for, hey, here's a save file, good luck. That quickly changed when we beat Renegade Platinum, which was literally just, holy shit, how do I beat this? I need to theory craft with you for 45 minutes.
Yeah. And for that,
the Elite Four, the Elite Four for that game, each member has 4 different teams, and which one it is completely random. So we had to theory craft for 20 teams, all of which could be beat by 6 Pokemon.
Yeah.
It was I think the planning for the Elite Four took us a week and a half.
Yeah, and for a lot of those, you don't, like, you go and play ROM hacks for those, I'm assuming, right? You don't just do that.
Yeah, I don't think we've only done 2, and neither of them were like vanilla games. We did Fire Red Omega, which is like one of Driano's first ROM hacks, I think. It's like quality of life improvements for Fire Red. It's really cool. The starters have changed to Smoochum, Elekid, and Magmar. And on attempt 3, we realized that Smoochum's busted because Jinx also got buffed. So
yeah,
and Jinx is really good when you have access to, I think, Psychic before Surge. It's really good. And Psychic types are busted in Kanto. So, but yeah, after that we moved to Renegade Platinum and did it, and it was really enjoyable. It was a lot of work. I think that took us like 4 months of playing to beat. And granted, there was a lot of times where it's just like, hey, I haven't touched this in a week and a half, sorry. But I'm itching to get back and do another one. We've been waiting on Driano to release his newest patch for Storm Silver, because he's going through and like remaking that. But the last update we had on it was in, I think, like the end of 2022, saying it would be released in 2023. So, yep.
Yeah. Okay. That
Uh-huh.
tracks. Yeah.
And like he's said on Discord a couple different times, he's like, yeah, I am actively working on it, but Pokemon ROM hacking doesn't pay the bills, so it happens when it happens.
That's fair.
Jay, you're awful quiet tonight. What are we talking about there, buddy? What have you been doing?
I have mainly just been playing doubles random battles and doing draft league stuff. Mostly focused on playing Elden Ring and golf as of late. Been working on those skills. So
Very unique skills to have.
Yeah.
yeah, very
transferable.
very cool skills, very fun, good stuff.
I know before I got here, you were talking about actually starting. Well, I don't know if you were starting, but you're actually on the final boss of the DLC for Elden Ring. Is that the last thing you had to do, or do you know? Are you still going in blind?
This is it. It's all that's left. So it's all out in the open now. It is a boss, and he is certainly running me for my money, giving me a full-fledged running of it. So,
one of the guys I work with, he's like, dude, I have been trying to beat this for a while. I'm on New Game Plus 5. Everything one-shots me. I had to go start a new game so I could try to beat this.
yeah, it is very, very, very difficult. It's a good time. I really enjoy all the bosses that I've fought. I think they're all, really, really cool. But yeah, very difficult, obviously. So keep that in mind.
So Jay, I have a question for you, and Carter, you can actually rope into this as well. As our listeners know, golf is something very important to both of you, and something that both of you picked up very recently. We've got to the point where there's been episodes where we might as well have been Jay and Carter are doing a golf podcast, and Angelo is just looking pretty, which I'm.
That's really
hard.
hard. I understand.
Anyways, so for you two golfing, like, what skill that have you learned picking up golfing that you think is the most relatable to playing VGC, and that you didn't think of initially when you started picking up golf? Like, I know they're two very different things, but a lot of times you might be able to find that in those differences there might be a similarity in this and a transferable skill. So if you need, like,
Jay, I have my answer. Do you have yours?
Yeah.
All right, hit me.
It's probably the same answer, because golf is a game of many things you can't control. It's a lot of, when you hit the ball, you get a bad bounce and it bounces this direction, or you do this and it ends up in the bunker, or you try this and it ends up here. You got to keep your head in the game overall is the most important thing. And
100%.
yeah, when you're playing your golf game, the second you lose your head is the second that the game is completely over.
It is now your worst enemy. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mindset is like try and true the most important thing in basically any competitive setting you could have. Granted, I play golf very casually, but also at the same time, I'm out there to try to improve myself and try to, like, better my score. It's not just about going out and just hitting a ball and hoping it goes well and, here for the vibes. I'm here to try to be better at the game that I want to play.
Mm-hmm.
And so having that mindset change of just, I want to improve. There are things outside of my control. When something good happens, I need to recognize that. but also don't let the bad things happen. Like don't let the bad things get to you when they happen.
Yeah, and sometimes like things don't go your way, but that doesn't mean that, just because your first three holes went the wrong direction for you, like you can't go on to do well for the rest of the time and end up in a good spot. And like while in Pokemon tournaments it's a little bit different because, there is this hard line that says, oh, you can make day two by doing, this. Like you have to have at least, if you go to three losses, you can't make day two. So like there is like a discernible goalpost of what you're trying to reach. But like if you start bad, it doesn't mean that your entire day is over. You can go on to, still have some success out of it. I know I played a game this weekend and I started, I think, triple bogey, bogey, double bogey. And I
Awesome.
was
Love
like,
that for
this
you.
is a nightmare. But then I ended up putting together three straight pars, really good golf from there, put five pars on the table, ended up with, under 100. And it started and ended with some really bad holes. So it's not just like, you're done because you had one bad game at the beginning of, your tournament or whatever. You
So
can
that's
go
like
out there and win
so
still.
that's like the equivalent of going like 0363 walk away with points.
Yeah, like so something
Okay.
like that, or even like if you lose your first round 2-0 and then you go into your round 2 and you lose your first game, if you like get in your head from there and say, oh, things just aren't going my way today, this is over, it's going to be over. You're not going to be able to think critically, you're not going to be
Yep.
able to make the right decisions. And there's, while it's not a one-to-one thing, there's a lot of strategy involved in golf and where you want to put the ball and how you want to play different shots and stuff, what clubs you want to use. Your decision making can go all over the place and you can start thinking bad about yourself or, oh, I can't use this anymore because it's just not working today. And, that club or that Pokemon for that matter could end up being a very important thing down the line. So it's something to, not block out completely. But outside of sports stuff and other gaming stuff, draft leagues, double random battles have been the Pokemon stuff that keeps me going in the game. Uh, as difficult as it is sometimes to get on and play, I still do enjoy what I'm doing sometimes. Definitely double random battles, I think, more than Draft League as of late, just because of how much work it takes to put into like prepping for Draft League matches. Um, so yeah.
No, that's good. I honestly like the golf thing because like I was just like that is something that again you two do a lot of, and it's always good to just learn how different things in your life can just interact with other things that on the surface are just completely unrelated. Again, Carter, did you bring
What?
enough for the class?
Yeah, I showed you my bag.
Well, you didn't show the viewers.
Yeah, well, it's
I
there.
didn't even see what kind of candy it was.
These
I
are.
couldn't tell.
I have cream savers.
Okay.
I have the orange and I have the strawberry,
Ooh,
and then I have Werther's original sugar-free cafe coffee chocolate like caramel things. Oh, they're so good.
my grandmother used to have those. God rest her soul. It was like those just yeah like the coffee Werthers always she had them. They were great.
They're when I was doing keto, I came across them
Yeah.
and instantly fell in love with them, and so uh, Tiff, the next time she went to Dollar Tree, because that's the only place I've been able to find them, she bought every bag they had.
Yeah.
So I just have piles of candy, but it's okay. It's sugar free. That means it's healthy, right?
Yeah, I think that's what that means.
This game is going terrible. In case you're curious,
I figured.
we both have Voltabzor watch rolls out, and just sitting here hurricaning and roosting in front of each other. The problem is I'm now out of hurricanes, and he has two more Pokemon.
Oh, you're done. Is the Watchful the last mon?
Yes, it is my last mon.
Oh yeah, you're cooked.
Yeah, this one's over.
Yeah,
it's okay.
He has. Over.
We both only have 3 Roost left.
Yeah. So while Carter inevitably struggles himself into.
All right, he has Rest Goomy. You win. I'm not winning. You.
Yeah. So I think out of the 3 of us, I'm doing the most VGC adjacent stuff, even when I'm not like super actively grinding. I do have like a few locals. I have one actually coming up in 9 days. I'm very excited. It's Rhode Island's first VGC local in God knows how long, and I'm just so excited. Honestly, like my big thing recently has been community building and focusing on that. I'm a moderator of the New England VGC Discord. I'm the co-captain for the rest of New England USPA team. I work with a lot of my local area on making sure that we have events. And of course I'm not a TO. I work adjacent with the TOs who are also in the Discord to have the space to be able to promote their events. But my big thing ever since we got the announcements for how the upcoming season was going to run and the changes locally, my main focus has really just been trying to make sure that the people that I'm adjacent to in my local area have areas to play, have reasons to play. Community is very important. Like you guys and the Littleroot Lessons community is, of course, how I started everything. And to be able to grow from an online community to a in-person community to actually have locals now, I want to make sure that we like take advantage of and appreciate what we actually have. Like specifically with Rhode Island, working with the Rhode Island TO, Eliza, who comes from a TCG background. She is one of the leaders of the Girl Power TCG team. And she's just been absolutely excellent working with her to not only get this event, but the transparency to be able to like understand what VGC needs compared to a game like TCG, compared to a game like Go. Like the player bases are different, and we expect different things from tournaments. So to be able to build up on that has been like honestly my main focus more than even my own work competing. Outside of like that, I kind of got back into Pokemon Go, big time. I used to be a like Pokemon Go for I want to say about 4 or 5 years, probably from 2016 on, was my main outlet of Pokemon. I would play the games, but usually I'd be done after the Elite Four, and going on walks, catching Pokemon. That was like a big thing. And when I moved last year, and honestly, even a little before that, I kind of just fell off playing it. And it was just a mix of me finally saying like, hey, let me just walk around like the town I live in, find like the local park, and actually like be in my immediate local area. And then my interview with Anna Hoffman talking about like competitive Pokemon Go for the Littleroot record, that was like, hey, this was something I really loved doing. I loved just going out on a walk for 20-25 minutes saying, hey, what Pokemon can I catch? And picking up has been amazing. The local like little like town park 2 minutes from my apartment, I have like just the craziest shiny luck there. I went on like a 30-40 minute walk there on Friday, and I got a shiny Galarian Meowth, a shiny Fletchling. No, it was a shiny Galarian Meowth, a shiny Wooper, and a shiny Galarian Zigzagoon. And then the next day took Amanda there for us to walk around, and I got a shiny Fletchling. Like, just I feel like every single time I go there, I get a new shiny Pokemon, and that like little like rush of adrenaline of I just found this random mon with fun colors that doesn't make it better or worse than any other Pokemon. Like, I don't know, I just love that feeling.
I, on the other hand, have grinded for 75 hours in one game, fighting nothing but wild Pokemon, and haven't encountered a shiny yet.
Wait, really? You haven't gotten a single shiny?
Nope.
That's
I purposely held off on evolving Whismur till being the last Pokemon I could, because I wanted to see if I could get a shiny. I did not.
that's miserable. Well, Emerald's RNG is broken.
Oh yeah, I know I could like RNG manipulate if I really wanted to, but I really do not want to.
No, but like the fact that you've done 75 hours and just God, no, that's so bad. Can you get so playing Showdown? Can you get shiny Pokemon playing Ranbats?
No.
No.
No, okay. I didn't know if you couldn't. I don't play enough Ranbats. The last time I was grinding Ranbats was about a decade ago when I was playing Gen 1 Ranbats.
Gen 1 Ranbats are so fun.
Gen 1 Ranbats are just absolutely wild because the Gen 1 mechanics are just,
It's because you can have anything. You can have any Pokemon. That's what's wild about that.
Honestly, and they buff the mons, and I mean, of course, if you get like Caterpie or Metapod, you're screwed. But like even Weedle and Kakuna, if they give you Poison Sting, like you could get yourself into something with that. Or even just being able to make like wild plays where I remember there was this one battle I had where my Pokemon was frozen, and for those of you who don't know, freeze in Generation 1 is the most broken status ever. The only way for your Pokemon to unfreeze is if your opponent hits it with a fire type attack. And so assuming your opponent just never clicks a fire type move, then it might as well just be a knocked out Pokemon. And I was able to switch in like my frozen Pokemon into a fire type attack, unfreeze, and then use that now unfrozen Pokemon to sweep through their team. And that was I was like, I'm so smart. And
I am a literal genius.
yeah, because then like and that's the like it literally turns into a 6v5 if you get frozen. So bad.
I hear a cat.
Yeah, there she is.
Oh my! It's just the literal jump scare where it's like, oh, we hear. I was expecting her to be
Come
like
here, come
behind
say
you,
hi.
Jay.
Say hello. How you?
Little Wooski.
Yeah, she's here. She's here.
This is the reason people listen to this show is strictly for the cat.
It's absolutely for the pets. So you have the cat. You have Shock. She's swimming around.
I don't know how I win this one. This is gonna be rough. Poor
Actually,
fish, you suck.
Do you want to go more into like what baby Ranbats are? I know this is like a big thing. That again, I feel like all we've done either before or after we record for the past few weeks has just been watch you like grind baby Ranbats.
It is only basic Pokemon that can evolve. So anything that is legal for Little Cup is legal. That being said, the Little Cup ban list doesn't exist. But much like Ranbats is balanced out by having Pokemon at different levels to give them higher strengths and weaknesses, is true for this as well. So the Little Cup is played at level 5. I think the highest level Pokemon I've seen in Baby Ranbats is level 8. I don't think I've seen anything
level 8 mons.
I didn't hear you.
What were the level 8 mons that like the ones that they felt like needed the extra help?
I think like Poliwag and Numel both are, which seems absurd because they seem like the two of the best Pokemon I've played with. Because Poliwag has a speed stat of 21, which is absolutely absurd compared to everything else that is maxed out at like 17. And it gets belly drum.
Multipliers are multipliers.
Yep. even at level 8, having a attack stat of like 85 is really good.
Yeah.
I know. I think I talked about it last week, but Noble gives access to simple growth with Trailblaze as well. So just like how good is like it? It's literally just like sword stance, agility, and nasty plot all in 2 moves.
Yeah, it's a lot. And of course, like you mentioned, the Little Cup ban list. What mons usually are banned that you've actually been able to see?
I've had Scyther before. Scyther's one that is like
Sneasel,
yeah, Sneasel's also banned.
Okay.
Porygon's legal.
Stantler, Girafarig.
Yep, ran into
It's a
both of them.
giraffe.
Gligar is another really, really good mon.
Yeah, Gligar is
Um,
normally like a Little Cup ban, I think, potentially. Well, at least I know Deepak it was probably banned. Throwback. Deepak.
we need doubles baby Ranbats.
I would
asking for
I
too
would give
much.
that a try.
Oh, they're gonna spore whatever I bring in. This is really bad. Maybe
Is
they
it a
don't
Paris
spore.
or a Shroomish?
It's a Shroomish. Or a Fungus, I'm sorry.
A Fungus, okay.
Yeah, I'd love doubles random baby battles. Doubles Ranbats itself is
We need to get a hold of
absolute
Flair. He could
blast.
program that.
You could. I know I think they were talking about it when the baby battles, when the baby Ranbats came out. They were discussing it in the Deepak chat. They
Yeah, I was
gonna
they
say-
reawakened the Discord for 2 minutes to consider it being an option, and then went back to sleep.
Flair
Yeah.
programmed Gen 1 double battles. So, like, which again was when that happened, it was like the funnest week on Showdown I had had in a long time.
Yeah, because like that's God deep. I was just thinking that used to be a huge. I mean, that whole thing was from us.
Yeah, it was a really big community there for a minute.
Hi,
There she is
Thunder.
again.
Yeah, she's back. Just
Yeah, that's
you
fine.
just get her back. Hold on. You want to show your face a little bit?
We see your fingers.
Let's
That's
see a
an
ceiling
ear.
fan.
It's an eye.
Yui, oh no, she's messing up the whole thing. Yui, come on. Oh no, she's messing up my whole shits. Yui, you're a monster. You're a little monster.
Why is Chinchu so fast?
They made it like level 7 or something. I don't know.
It is level 7, yes.
Wow. That is.
Another thing that's really interesting about this is probably I bet it's probably 75%, if not higher, like of all the Pokemon have Eviolite. But that's also balanced out because there's a lot of knockoff Pokemon in the format too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if there's no item clause, there's no reason not to give Eviolite to pretty much anything.
Yeah, that's like that in and of itself is also true. But I mean, it's singles. There is no item clause or anything like that to actually worry about. So
There isn't in doubles Little Cup either. We were playing that for a little bit, and everything has Eviolite.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
like the item's so good. If you can use it, there's almost no point in not using it. Like,
why?
the only time, even in VGC, where it's like, oh, you should just use a different item, is when Murkrow was popular. Instead of using Eviolite, it was a little better for you to have something like Focus Sash or Covert Cloak on it, because like your bulk still wasn't good compared to the rest of the format. It wasn't like a Clefairy or anything. That, or of course the Porygon 2 or Dusclops with its bulk. But yeah, like you should almost always be using the Eviolite.
There's like Tepig is Choice Scarf. I think that's one of the few Choice Scarfers I've seen. There's a bunch of Life Orbers. Oh, Scorbunny is also Choice Scarf. I didn't know that.
It's funny because Embor in doubles Ranbats likes to run Choice Scarf a lot too.
Yeah.
So
Why? What does Embor like hit with Scarf?
well, it has Wild Charge, Knockoff, Flare Blitz, and Close Combat most of the time.
And it's Reckless.
And yeah, and your speed is not terrible because you're like a higher level.
Okay.
Like yeah, it outspeeds most of the format with the Choice Scarf.
Which yeah, that's like the point of ever having a Choice Scarf on something is to guarantee outspeeds. So.
Yeah. No,
The
even like
the Ranbats are like genuinely really balanced. Like, sure, you'll have teams where your opponent has 3 legendaries, and you're just like, I can't beat that. Like, yeah,
Most of the time, you end up with like the same amount of legendaries or like high stat Pokemon or like good VGC Pokemon. Like they do a really good job of like you know divvying out the teams. Sometimes they're a lot higher power, sometimes they're a lot lower power, but most of the time, you and your opponents have similar
similar power
power
level.
levels, but
Yeah,
like it still doesn't get rid of the fact that sometimes you just get a terrible lead and you get your game ended before you even know it, or a
and
Pokemon that you just don't have any answer to. So
the lead is really interesting because like uh this game I led Chinchu into Fungus. It's like, well, clearly I'm going to get like whatever I bring in here is getting put to sleep. So what is my worst Pokemon on this team? Because I can't one shot a Fungus, and I don't want to stay in. So like, what is going to sleep here?
yeah. So in
There's not really
general,
have a
like
fire resist.
outside of the fact that especially double like Rambat's doubles are a 6v6 instead of a 4v4. Like they're both doubles formats, but I know that there's definite differences along with like no item clause levels, like the level differences. What are some other like similarity and differences? Like is this something that you think could make people better VGC players playing it? And if so, like why?
yeah, because like it helps you with thinking about lines and where to get, you know, like where you're trying to get to finish the game. I think that there's a lot of thinking about how do I beat this specific matchup? How do I play around the Pokemon that I know that they have? What could they potentially have in the back that could really impact this game? I think a lot of the concepts line up in a similar fashion, although what's good differs quite a bit because levels are so impactful. Pokemon like Love Disc are actually like kind of sleeper picks and pretty solid in doubles Rambats because they can do extremely fast like Icy Wind stuff. Um, I definitely think it's just like the way that you approach the game can be very similar. It's a lot more about making the right plays in those moments that can keep you safe. Attacking when the opportunity really arises for you to get off a good amount of damage without taking a negative trade. Um, there's just like a lot of similar gameplay concepts. I think that you're just
Okay.
that impact
Uh,
it.
to build on that, it's granted I'm not playing the doubles ladder, right? So like the lines for singles are less complex. That being said, I will say that um, being able to like identify threat assessment, um, being able to like make appropriate calls, because like that lead I had earlier, right? Like if they're not going for Spore and I stay in and instead they go for like Giga Drain, well, that's just really bad for me because now I've given up damage on my Chinchou for no reason, right?
Mm.
And you still
Or
have the spore issue.
yeah, and I'm still facing down in a Fungus, so like it's a lot of like threat assessment and like there's no team building aspect to it, right? You literally take that part away of the game. You can only play what they give you. So being able to like identify when to go on the offensive, like when to make a read, I think is another really big one of like because there's a lot of Pokemon that have like setup moves, right? There's a lot of like Dragon Dancers, and we talked about like Belly Drummers, right? So like, well, I'm gonna bring in Poliwag against their Charmander. I'm gonna go for a Belly Drum here, but like if my opponent reads that and stays in and goes for a Thunder Punch, because like the natural thought there is I can threaten your Charmander by going for a Waterfall, so you're going to switch. So I'm going to read your switch by going for a Belly Drum, but that's really bad if you read that I'm going to do that and you go for a Thunder Punch instead. So like, what's the right line there, right? And it comes down to, well, how threatened am I of this Poliwag? Like if it wins the game for them to have a belly drum go up, then like obviously I can't allow that. I need to attack here. Because not only you don't have citrus berry, right? You have orange berry, because orange berry recovers more than 25% of your HP.
Yeah.
So having a full HP Pokemon basically at +6 attack is really bad, especially when it's going to outspeed basically everything. Your ways of beating it are much harder to identify. So it comes down to like, well, do I have something like Impidimp that has like priority Thunder Wave that can be able to deal with this, to slow it down, to be able to then bring in a threat to deal with it? Or how do I prevent it from happening? Or, like on the Poliwag side, do I even go for it here? When is the appropriate time to go for this to set up safely to be able to then sweep? So, making that appropriate read of what is the correct line here, or more importantly, I think something that I still struggle with is, when is it appropriate to get rid of this Pokemon? When is it okay for them to sack this Pokemon to bring in a proper check? And there's a lot of times where my opponent anticipates me holding on to my 10% HP Pokemon, and so they're going to go for a setup move, and instead I'm doing 50% to them. It's like, well, that was free. Thank you for giving me this knockoff, so now I don't have to worry about your Eviolite. Like, sure, you're still going to KO me, and, now you're at +2 attack because you Swords Dance or whatever, but now I'm going to bring in a threat that actually threatens you to a level where you're not ready for it, because I'm going to bring in something that's faster that can actually threaten you. So, like, sure, you're going to deal more damage, but so am I.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't matter how much damage you're doing if you can't get the attack off
Correct.
beforehand. Especially, like, again, like in a low power format, when you get rid of an item like Eviolite, where it's like you're pretty much, by doing that, you're kind of like doubling your damage.
Yep. Like, why would you ever play something like Assault Vest when every Pokemon can hold Eviolite?
Yep. Actually, yeah, that makes a really good point. No, I actually like the two of you explained that what it made me think of is, and I think this is a pitfall for a lot of VGC players. It's a pitfall of mine. You get so stuck in the team building phase to build the perfect team on paper before you even take it to showdown that you actually never play, because you're always thinking, you're like, I need the perfect team, and you don't get those in-game skills that you would only get by grinding games and by playing, like, again, this random format where you don't have control over the lead, you don't have control over what the team is, and it's okay, let me figure out what I'm doing, what options I have. And again, like, those non-team preview in-game decisions of where's my win con, what's my line, when do I make the read. So I think that could be very good for anyone, again, who's looking to improve on those things. That isn't you building a VGC team, and it can really help you there.
To kind of build on that, I think, like you said, a lot of people get stuck in the trying to build the perfect team idea. And I'm here to say that there is no such thing as a perfect team.
No.
You every team has a weakness of some kind. There is no such thing as a perfect team. You could spend hundreds of hours grinding with the same team, and at the end of the day, what that is going to do is teach you what that team's weakness is.
Yeah.
And
I think that the best way to put it is if you are building a team, like, understand what the weaknesses are.
Yep.
And then the threat assessment isn't understand your weaknesses. Is being weak to this certain thing worth it or not? Like,
it's making a meta call at that point of,
yeah,
is this something I need to address in team building, or is this something that's not popular enough for me to justify spending the time to try to correct this problem?
Yeah, like, I'll see
to
people
then repeat this process of, now I'd have another weakness that needs to be properly answered.
Yeah, like, I'm just bringing it to Red G. Like, in the grand scheme of things, if you have a bad Groudon matchup, a bad Lunala matchup, a bad Zacian matchup, that's fine.
Sure. Congratulations, you're losing to Restricteds that are played 2% of games. Like,
yeah. like it's understanding what's okay to lose against. Like, of course, if you're like, oh yeah, a well played Amoonguss destroys me, not
That is probably something that needs to be addressed.
fix that. But or yeah, it's like, oh yeah, no, it's but like on the other end, it's like, oh yeah, my one weakness is Calyrex Shadow. That's not good. But again, if your weakness is Zacian, like, is it a common Pokemon or common-ish? Sure, it is coming up a little. I actually think there was a Japanese tour where no swords, like Naked Zacian, top 8 the tour, which is just absolutely wild. But like, that's fine. Like, if that's like your weird matchup. So it's just understanding that is like a big thing. And I'm saying this is something that where I'm kind of preaching more than what I practice because it's my biggest issue right now. But I think saying it out loud kind of, holds me to it where I would actually get like a little better at it. And yeah, do you guys have anything else to talk about in terms of like things you've been doing for Pokemon or just in general and how it relates to Pokemon?
I'm getting bodied by a Porygon right now.
That's your punishment for disrespecting P2.
PZ's great. It's not my fault P2 wasn't good enough and got an evolution.
We're going to agree to disagree there.
Because of its evolution, we ended up with a nightmare.
Yeah.
You're welcome. It sucked, so they made it better.
They buffed it. They did.
Yeah, it's.
They gave it the good old-fashioned Incineroar treatment.
Yep.
It wasn't good enough, so we had to make it better. Oh, Porygon, you're getting destroyed.
You deleted the virus or whatever.
Well, to be fair, they Terra Fairy'd in front of my Tyrogue, and I really did not have a good answer.
No. I think with all that being said, Jay, drive us out of here.
All right, thank you all so much for watching, guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that fun YouTube stuff. Give me words of encouragement in the comments for beating the Shadow of the Erdtree for Elden Ring, because I certainly need it.
I believe in the you that believes in yourself.
Jay,
me
you
too.
can do it.
Me too, I believe. I believe. Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. Yeah, I'm going to do that next time. It's okay. For anyone who does get it, shout out to you. He's a TNA wrestler. Dude's awesome. Come hang out with us in the community Discord. Come talk to us about the things that you guys do in the off season and what keeps you interested, because we could all probably really use it right now.
Yeah.
Check out the Twitter at LR Lessons, where you guys can stay updated with our upcoming videos. And make sure you check out the Discord supporters and the Patreon supporters links as well. With that, that has been the episode, and we will see you all next week. Peace out.